Ladies and gentlemen, just getting this out of the way, the top is not fully validated. We don't know for sure whether that top on October 6th at $126,000 was the actual bull market top, okay? If you want more information on that, go and watch my last video. But in this video, we're going to be working with the assumption that that was the top, which isn't confirmed, it's a hypothetical, but we need to assume that was the case in order to move forward with the topic of today's video. The topic is this: if that was the top, where will the bottom be? Where will the bottom be in date? And where will the bottom be in price? The good news is I can give you pretty exact answers on both of those questions. A lot of people ask me what exchange I use as a trader. I use the Bitunix Exchange, and I don't have a contract with them. I haven't signed anything with them. I don't work for them. I advertise them on my own accord. With my referral link down below, you can get a 15% trading fee discount permanently attached to your account, as well as up to 8,000 USDT in rewards just by signing up with my link down below. Why would you sign up? Well, it's global, it's non-KYC, it's never been hacked before, it's got all of the functions and pairs that you would expect for a major exchange. For that reason, I use it. And I implore you to consider using it as well. Sign up with my link to help out the channel, help out yourself. Cheers. Starting with our first question, when will the bear market bottom be? And again, just one more time so we're fully clear on this, I'm working with a hypothetical scenario that was the actual top, that we've seen the top of the bull run, which isn't fully confirmed. I'm very cautious in the market right now. I think it's a very decent probability, but yeah, look, not fully confirmed yet. However, if that was the top, that would have been a regular 4-year cycle. And so we can apply the regular 4-year cycle's date range trends to understand where the bottom might be in date. We're then going to move forward and discuss where the bottom could be in price using various charts. The date range trend of the 4-year cycle has been 100% accurate. It's been around since 2012, okay? It's existed since the very first bull market Bitcoin's ever seen, since Bitcoin was just exiting its actual infancy. And it's been predicting every single top date and every single bottom date, again, with 100% accuracy since then. I've used it personally on this YouTube channel since the inception of this YouTube channel, which was back here in mid-2021. I used it to predict the 2021 top. I used it to predict the 2022 bottom. And I've been using it as potential predictions for the top in October to early November. Now, the cycle can break at any point. The cycle will break eventually. But currently, there's no definitive evidence that the cycle has broken yet. And so using the hypothetical scenario that the cycle will continue, all we need to do is extend these trends a little bit further, like we've done multiple times in this YouTube channel, historically speaking, and we can see where the bottom will be. So we've got 6 separate date range trends, all of them influential in marking either tops or bottoms. 3 data points used to establish those date range trends: the top, the bottom, and the halving. And if we just go ahead and extrapolate these trends forward, we will have 1,400 days from bottom to bottom. Okay, so let's go ahead and punch that in. Something like this, 1,400. It's actually more like 1,430 days from bottom to bottom. We'll make that orange to match the date range trend. We will have roughly 400 days from top to bottom. So assuming the top was on October the 6th, we can go ahead and punch that in, 400 days from top to bottom, and that would be something like here. And we'll make that green again to match the date range trend. And guys, it's literally as simple as that. We have 2 relatively exact micro trends stemming from top to bottom and from bottom to bottom. And both of those micro trends point to a bottom date of around late October 2026. This makes a lot of sense. We've historically seen the bottom be about a year after the top. We saw a top in early November 2021, followed by a bottom in mid-November 2021. We saw a top in December 2017, followed by a bottom in December 2018. And now, hypothetically, we'd be seeing a top in early October, followed by a bottom a year later in late October. Now, there is some room for error on this date range trend. It could be realistically mid-October. It could be late October, maybe even early October. These date range trends aren't exactly as precise as the topping out trends. Topping out trends are generally more accurate. However, with bottoms, it's particularly easy to tell, I find, because generally it's a straight downwards move with no macro breakout. And when the macro breakout occurs within the date range estimate, you can pretty much confidently guarantee that is going to be the bottoming out move. So I expect if this was, again, using the word if we have seen the top already on October 6th, I would expect the bottom to be in October 2026, possibly in the latter half of the month. As for price, we can look into price from a couple of different perspectives. One of the perspectives we can look into price from is from this logarithmic regression channel, and the other perspective we can look into price from is by simple extrapolation of data in relation to how much we have dropped historically speaking. Let's start out with the extrapolation of data. How much have we dropped in prior bear markets? Let's go ahead and take a look. Let's zoom in to our first bull market after the halving, and we saw a drop of roughly, I'll try to be exact though, 86%. Let's go ahead and punch that down. A minus 86% drop over the course of that cyclical bear market. Moving forward into the following cycle, we saw a drop from the peak at about 20,000 to the trough at about 3,000 of 84%. So we saw 2% less of a decrease in that cycle. Diminishing returns taking effect there, not too massively, but diminishing returns really kicked in 2021 as we saw a drop from around 69,000 to the base of about 15,000, which was a 77% retracement. Now what you see here is a trend, right? You see a little trend forming. Essentially, we have a drop from 86 to 82 to 77 in the drawdowns of the bear markets. Now, obviously, in the same way that we see the percentage increases decrease over time, we're going to be seeing the percentage decreases decrease over the time as well. That is the same concept of diminishing returns, just applied to the downside. As the market caps gets bigger, it becomes harder to move the asset. And so you see the price action mature and become less volatile over time. So we can assume that the price action will further mature and become less volatile over time in this cycle. Looks like I've accidentally written 82. It's actually 84%, as I mentioned. So we see a difference of 2% between this first cycle to the second cycle in the drawdown. We see a difference of around 7% in the drawdown from the second cycle to the third cycle. And this leaves us with a few different scenarios where we could see a drawdown between 2% and 7%, because that's what we've seen historically speaking, or the drawdown could be ramping up in the same way the diminishing returns is ramping up, and we could see a drawdown of, say, 67%, right? A 10% less of a drawdown from the prior cycle. It's kind of difficult to find out exactly what we would be seeing. But let's just make a wild guess. Let's just say we see the same percentage difference between the second cycle and the third cycle from the last cycle to this cycle. Let's say we see that 7% difference between the drawdowns, which would bring us to a drawdown this cycle of around 70%. So a 70% drawdown, and we can make this more precise in a second. I'm going to show you how. We'll take Bitcoin from the peak at $126,000 to about $36,000. So let's make a note at $36,000. There's 36K. We can validate that in a couple of ways. Well, one of the ways is we can literally just look at what is there. It's clearly a support zone. It clearly acted as support during the bear market and also as resistance during the 2021 bull market. If we look at the volume profile on a very long-term macro perspective, we can see that 36,000 is sitting on the peak of a massive ramp up of support. And so losing that level would lead to a drop much, much further down, which would bring Bitcoin into a drop more consistent with the first two cycles, which would be a little bit unexpected given the fact diminishing returns is occurring. So 70% drop to 36,000 just makes sense from a basic analysis perspective, but we can actually cross-validate this with this chart right here. This is the logarithmic regression channel. This is a chart I've been looking at on this YouTube channel for about a year now, I believe, maybe even more than that. It essentially takes the angle of ascension between bull market tops and other bull market tops, and then bear market bottoms and other bear market bottoms. And you can see that angle of ascension is halving each cycle. So we started at 40 degrees, went to 20 degrees, then 10 degrees, then 5 degrees. And presumably the next cycle would be 2.5 degrees. Now, eventually this will break, but currently it still seems to be holding. Same thing to the downside, 24 to 12 to 6. And if we take the hypothetical bottoming out date and we keep that 6-degree angle of ascension, again, taking that hypothetical bottoming out date we've already established of October 2026, all we need to do is see what price we would be at that level. And it would be, guess what? About $36,000, right? So we've pretty confidently come to a couple of conclusions here. One of them is, and this is a very confident conclusion, again, provided the top is in, that could change. It's not fully confirmed yet, but we're using hypotheticals here. If the top was in, and if the cycle continues to hold, it would seem that October 2026 would be the most logical date for a bottom. And it would also seem that a very possible Slightly less confident in this, but a very possible price target for the bottom could be around 36,000 based on this logarithmic regression channel, which is yet to break, and based on some analysis, speculative analysis that said, but some analysis in regards to what we have done in terms of percentage drawdowns and extrapolating that data forward in a speculative manner, but then also cross-validating and looking at support ranges and volume profile. So it seems a very realistic target for the bear market bottom would be October 2026 at about $36,000 with breathing room for error. Now that's actually a conclusion I've already made in a video 2 months ago. I looked very far forward in this video 2 months ago, came to the same conclusions. I said 36,000 in around October 2026 would make a lot of sense. I still stand by that. If we have seen a regular cyclical top here, I believe $36,000 in October 2026 makes quite a lot of sense. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section down below. I'm curious to hear your guys' opinions, and actually go to the group chat. I've got a free group chat, and drop your opinions there as well. Hopefully we can get some debate going. Appreciate you guys watching the content. If you really enjoyed the video, you got something out of the video, leave a like, subscribe so you can see future updates. That helps out the channel. And also check out the Bitunix Exchange. A lot of people ask me what exchange I use as a trader. I use the Bitunix Exchange, and I don't have a contract with them. I haven't signed anything with them. I don't work for them. I advertise them on my own accord. With my referral link down below, you can get a 15% trading fee discount permanently attached to your account, as well as up to 8,000 USDT in rewards just by signing up with my link down below. Why would you sign up? Well, it's global. It's non-KYC. It's never been hacked before. It's got all the functions and pairs that you would expect for a major exchange. For that reason, I use it. And I implore you to consider using it as well. Sign up with my link to help out the channel, help out yourself. Cheers.